And now, CBS21 Salute to Sailors.
With global threats in the Pacific and Europe, the United States Navy is on high alert. More than 350,000 sailors and 300 ships scattered throughout the world. For 1 week, U.S. Fleet Forces Command in Norfolk, Virginia, opening up its doors to CBS 21's Michael Gorsegner, giving us a rarely seen look at the technology, personnel, and hometown heroes keeping our country safe.
By air and on the waters, the United States Navy holding a firm grip on the safety and sovereignty of the worldwide economy.
We're on the sea, we're under the sea, we're on the land, we're in the air. We really cover a large swatch of our planet.
Just a short 250-mile drive from central Pennsylvania, Naval Station Norfolk sits as the backbone of the U.S. Fleet Forces Command. With 103,000 active duty sailors, 125 ships, and 1,000 aircraft, USFFC manning, training, and equipping roughly a third of the worldwide arsenal.
It's critical for the defense of our country. It's the main base here on the East Coast.
So we keep an eye on world events because it'll affect our daily life. It could affect us going on deployment.
At any one time, one-third of the U.S. Navy's capacity deployed across the world. With 80% of the world population living near the ocean, 90% of international trade traveling by sea, and 99% of all international communication passing through underwater cable, a robust presence is necessary.
It's a very capable vessel that can get us enough information that we need.
Known as the Silent Service, submarines like USS New Hampshire helping to protect the 70% of the Earth's surface covered by water. Returning to Norfolk in January, New Hampshire and her crew, including York County native David Leeper, enjoying a little surface time after 6 months underwater.
It literally is like Groundhog's Day. It's like you don't know what's going on or what to expect, but like you just go day to day in like a whole routine.
It's tough. Like you work every day. So I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it, say it's easy.
CD East graduate Seaman Harsh Patel taking in the experience underway to expand his knowledge base.
What drives me is to push myself to become a better person, to serve my nation, and yeah, make my parents proud.
You constantly have to be training. And it's not just training to fight, it's training to keep yourself in shape. It's training to educate yourself so that you are constantly learning and better than your adversary.
It's not normal for people to kind of do the things we do.
Those abnormalities, like spending weeks underwater in tight confines of a sub, are key to the success of the Navy. Every sub in the U.S. arsenal, nuclear-powered, meaning the boats never have to surface, except to get food for the 130 sailors aboard. In comparison to China, U.S. subs, a huge advantage right now. To central Pennsylvania is key to the code.
I just want to gain experience, knowledge about how the Navy works, and experience many different places.
The sailors are our secret weapon. You know, without them, a ship is just a big hunk of metal. An aircraft is just a big hunk of metal. It's those sailors that really make the Navy what it is.
This ship in particular, the USS Cole, has an interesting story. Bombed back in 2000 by Al-Qaeda, killing 17 sailors on board. And it really is the sailors on board these type of ships that run the ship that make the engine go. Over the next week, we're going to be telling you some of their stories, including our hometown heroes, give you an idea of what goes on here in what is the nation's largest naval base. In Norfolk, Michael Gorsegner, CBS 21 News. Getting underway aboard the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I'm Michael Gorsegner. I'll take you on a rare behind-the-scenes look, not only how this naval aircraft carrier works, but talk to the sailors that keep this thing chugging along.
With nearly 350,000 sailors, the U.S. Navy has a presence worldwide.
But like so many private and public industries, recruiting and retention is a struggle. The number of enlisted sailors is down 20% from 3 decades ago.
In today's Salute to Sailors, CBS 21's Michael Gorsegner jumping aboard a naval aircraft in the Atlantic to find out more. What's going on with the sailors and what's being done to keep our country safe?
It's a scene immortalized in movies. FA-18 fighter jets catapulting from the deck of a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier.
I don't think it'll ever get boring for me. I like what I do.
Considered one of the most hectic and dangerous work environments in the world, the flight deck of the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower in full gear. Underway in the Atlantic Ocean, about an hour's flight from Naval Station Norfolk, the Nimitz-class nuclear-powered carrier running carrier qualifications for pilots to learn how to take off and land on the 300-foot runway at sea.
It's a very unique experience. You know, not a lot of people get to come out here and be on the flight deck.
This is engineered beautifully. It's some beautiful American engineering.
At the controls of the Rolling Airframe Missile Launcher, or RAM, Dillsburg native Kimberly Davis, to defend the ship against any type of attack. Fire Controlman Davis making sure the surface-to-air missile is ready to engage any incoming anti-ship missiles.
The experiences I've had here are invaluable.
But recruiting and retaining sailors difficult in this day and age. In 1995, the U.S. Navy employing nearly 430,000 active duty sailors. Fast forward 26 years, that number down over 86,000, hovering just around 343,000.
I couldn't be happier because then it got me to actually do more than what I expected myself to do.
With upwards of 5,000 sailors aboard Ike during full deployment, the floating city in need of proper health care. 60 to 70 hospital corpsmen, including Petty Officer Lotta from Lancaster County, dealing with everything from everyday blood work to emergency surgeries.
It's a big responsibility because it's like you have to keep your shipmates in tip-top shape to actually work.
And to have 5,000 people on an aircraft carrier like we do here, all doing their jobs in an effort for the same goal of protecting our nation, protecting our economy, like that's something to be a part of.
Before catching the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower at sea, she was right here at the pier in Norfolk. 3,000 to 4,000 sailors getting ready to get underway for this latest evolution.
It can be hard because it is a boat and you are out at sea for weeks at a time, months at a time for deployment.
To bolster numbers, the Navy throwing some money at the issue. In the 2024 budget request that totals over $250 billion, Navy brass continuing an increased enlistment bonus. Additionally, the budget, including a 5% raise for sailors and Marines, the largest increase in 22 years.
I love the view. I'll never get tired of it. I love the sound of the aircraft rolling. I mean, it's one life I love to live.
Besides the monetary benefits, seeing the world, life experiences, one of the biggest selling points for the Navy. Whatever the sell, a hard push is on to make sure the next generation of sailors is ready to defend the world.
We're here to do a job, to get the job done so we can get home to our family. That's what it means to me.
For Salute to Sailors aboard the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, I'm Michael Gorsegner, CBS 21 News.
With 350,000 sailors and 300 ships spread across the globe, the U.S. Navy is one of the largest in the world.
But China is outpacing the U.S. when it comes to shipbuilding. So right now, officials are leaning on manpower and training to prevail on the high seas.
In today's Salute to Sailors, CBS 21's Michael Gorsinger getting an inside look at the technology and the tools preparing these men and women for battle.
A gunfight erupts on the open waters. U.S. Navy sailors protecting the country's assets. A real-life scenario playing out on the big screen.
Technology has improved our training drastically.
During this simulation, 5 sailors being put through the paces. A small boat armed with 250 caliber heavy machine guns fending off the enemy. Instead of spending huge amounts of time and money with live fire training, a simulator acting as a guide.
There's a lot of learning curve associated with it. It's just a different way for the Navy to implement their pre-planned responses.
We can put the sailors through in environments and through situations that are just too dangerous to simulate at sea.
Before getting behind the controls of a $1 billion+ Los Angeles class fast tack submarine, crewmen running through a simulator, learning to experience operations underwater, a vital part of the experience where mistakes don't cost lives.
We can do any number of things in here, from basic level surfacing evolutions to periscope depth, or we can do complex casualties that actually really test the watch team as a group.
So we're looking at an LCAC, one of the greatest things in the Navy.
Technological advances fueling the Navy at every turn. With 16,000 horsepower turning 4 double-sided fans, the LCAC, or Landing Craft Air Cushion, able to transport materials, equipment, and personnel from ship to shore.
Equipment, anything that we can strap on the deck that they need to get from the ship to the beach, We are the transportation.
We do transport the Marines. Whatever they need done when we do beach hits, we take them where the ships can't take them.
Air cushion technology making this vehicle unique, able to land just about anywhere. In fact, only about 15% of the world's coastline is accessible to conventional landing craft. With the LCAC, that number jumps to 70%. With top speeds of over 40 miles per hour, the LCAC is a big, fast, expensive taxi.
It is a one-of-a-kind job that I really, really enjoy operating.
But to get the LCAC, the hovercraft, from place to place takes a much bigger effort. Enter the USS Carter Hall. This well deck right here actually floods with water, starting about 2 feet all the way to 8 feet. That way the hovercraft can come on board, able to not only complete, but also start a mission.
So this is where we launch and recover our landing craft.
With a motto of working for peace, ready for war, the USS Carter Hall, a dock landing ship, tasked with transporting Marine personnel, landing craft vehicles, and cargo to forward positions.
Our offensive capability is our ability to take Marines from the sea and put them wherever they need to be on land.
With 350 sailors on board, Lieutenant Commander John Horst from Lancaster County oversees about 24 men and women, making sure Carter Hall and her crew are ready for both military and humanitarian efforts. Almost 2 decades of service, expanding the worldview of this central Pennsylvania native.
I've seen so many more countries than I would ever have normally seen just as a kid from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Aboard the USS Carter Hall in Norfolk, Virginia, Michael Gorsegner, CBS 21 News.
Of the nearly 350,000 United States Navy sailors, one group really drawing a lot of the glory and the fame, it's the naval aviators.
Movies like Top Gun glorifying these fighter pilots. So CBS 21's Michael Gorsegner is taking you inside the cockpit with the real-life Mavericks and the team behind getting these planes in the air.
Catapulting off of a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier at 170 miles per hour, a bone-jarring experience for most. But for these naval aviators, it's just another day at the office.
This is insane. This is a rocket ship. This is the coolest thing I could ever do.
As a little girl, Lieutenant Nicole Burdett had sky-high dreams to be a veterinarian. Only after purchasing a Groupon to learn to fly a Cessna did the FA-18 pilot consider getting her naval wings.
Why drive a school bus when you can drive a Ferrari? So that kind of drove me right to the Navy of when else am I going to get the ability to fly a Ferrari, and this is it.
But before flying nearly Mach 2, which equates to about 1,200 miles per hour in the FA-18 Super Hornet, naval aviators pushing the boundaries of education. To enter the pilot community, a bachelor's degree is a must before heading to officer candidate school. After 2 years of flight school, the Navy then helping to determine which pipeline a pilot will travel before settling on a specialty.
For me, I'm getting to see the world. I get, a stable life for my family. So for me, I love what I do.
Flight operations aboard a naval aircraft carrier can be described as controlled chaos. More than 70 aircraft normally on this deck. Right now, a quiet, serene setting this early in the morning. However, this ship has the capabilities to launch aircraft every 30 to 45 seconds, getting them in the air, making sure that the Navy is ready for anything.
Jets will break, we fix them, and we get them back out, and that's our sole mission.
Before jets can launch from the deck of USS Dwight D. Eisenhower or take flight from Naval Air Station Oceana, a bustling team of ground personnel making sure the aircraft are fit for flight.
It requires a crew to fuel them. It requires a crew to overlook them completely. We have ordnance men that upload whatever type of ordnance.
With around 3,700 aircraft in the fleet, the U.S. Navy, the second largest aviation unit in the entire world behind the U.S. Air Force. In fact, an aircraft carrier like the Eisenhower, or Ike as it's affectionately known, and the 5,000 men and women aboard the ship have one single purpose: launching and retrieving aircraft.
I like being out there. I like the environment. I like the intensity.
I love the view. I'll never get tired of it. I love the sound of the aircraft rolling. I mean, it's one life I love to live.
You're constantly evolving, and when you think you've become a really good pilot, you hit the next level of training.
While the training might evolve, a pilot's call sign generally is picked a few months into flight school and sticks for a career. That is, unless a change is warranted.
So my call sign was originally Sweet D. It's actually Disaster now. due to some unforeseen, very unfortunate circumstances on deployment.
Not lost on these men and women the importance of the mission, the safety of the country and the $65 million aircraft, and most importantly, the joy of doing what they love for a living.
I was all about being a mechanic on an F-18, and it's never gotten old, and I'm still doing it 17 years later.
So you don't have a whole lot of time to just look out the window and go, wow, I'm flying an F-18. But once in a while, those flights happen, and you're just sitting there looking out the window going, oh my gosh, I'm flying an F-18.
For Salute to Sailors in Norfolk, Virginia, Michael Gorsegner, CBS 21 News.
Now, CBS 21 Salute to Sailors.
A piece of central Pennsylvania gracing the waters at Naval Station Norfolk.
Commissioned in 1991, the USS Gettysburg just finishing an 8-year overhaul, and it's once again ready for the sea.
In today's Salute to Sailors, CBS 21's Michael Gorsegner takes a look around the guided missile cruiser and the tight-knit relationship the sailors and Gettysburg community share.
With a touch of paint and some last-minute TLC, USS Gettysburg sits proudly in the Norfolk port, ready to make her namesake proud.
I'm a Pennsylvania guy born and raised in Allentown.
Never out of touch with his Keystone State roots, Commander Thomas Hoffman takes great pleasure in serving aboard USS Gettysburg. Commissioned in 1991, the Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser, one of only 17 such ships in the entire Navy.
It means a lot to be on a ship that has such a deep connection to my home state.
It's just a great relationship. We're telling each other's story, and we appreciate each other very much.
Around every corner, it seems, on the 32-year-old vessel, the history of Gettysburg on full display. From the signal bell to placards to the burrow shield covering the rope lines to keep the critters out, the prominence and story of Gettysburg runs deep.
We take that very seriously here and understand what we represent when we wear a ball cap that says Gettysburg on it.
Aboard the USS Gettysburg, plenty of homages to the Battle of Gettysburg, including this, a print of the cyclorama. The 1880s print was actually given by the Gettysburg Foundation to the ship, and then they enlarged it, putting it here in the best deck, not only for the sailors to see, to be part of the ship's history.
It is an opportunity for Gettysburg to extend itself literally around the world and tell the story of Gettysburg.
Despite being over 250 miles from her home port of Norfolk, the borough of Gettysburg deeply committed to the long-standing relationship. Inside Borough Hall, USS Gettysburg hats, pins, and even a cookbook proudly show off the commitment.
I came right out of A school to the Gettysburg. I told my mom, I'm like, I'm going to the Gettysburg. She's like, oh, that's cool. You're from Pennsylvania. I've went to the Gettysburg before, like the actual town itself, for a field trip. Yeah. So it was kind of ironic.
With 327 men and women aboard the Gettysburg, the health and safety of the crew vital to Pennsylvanians keeping a watchful eye.
When you're here to help them out and you actually see them recover, it's just rewarding.
The environment's stressful, the days are long. Some days you don't want to be here, but the people really, and the family and community that you build here, they really become your family.
A tight community aboard a small ship circumventing the world. And when this vessel pulls into port, Pennsylvania pride shines. The sacrifices of the warriors in 1863 displaying the history, while the current crop of sailors making the world a safer place every day.
Going around seeing the world, different cultures and whatnot, it definitely gives you a broader view of just how diverse the world really is.
Just trying to do the borough of Gettysburg proud.
For Salute to Sailors in Norfolk, Virginia, Michael Gorsegner, CBS 21 News.
And while today caps off the 5 days of Salute to Sailors, the fun doesn't stop here. Please join us Memorial Day Monday, May 29th for a 30-minute special.
That's going to be awesome. CBS 21's Michael Gorsegner once again diving into how the Navy is handling the growing mental health issues and one of the most fun assignments he's ever had as well. How about the Navy Band? That's coming up on Monday, May 29th, 5:30.